Hello. In this podcast, I will give you information about the American and Chinese economies, including their relations, comparisons, and data. After listening, you will learn quality things. Let's start. The economic relationship between China and the United States is one of the most important and complex in the world. China has become a major player in the global economy, with its massive population and rapid economic growth making it a key partner for many countries, including the US. However, the relationship between the two countries has been marked by tensions and disagreements over issues such as trade imbalances, intellectual property theft, and geopolitical rivalries. This article will explore the history of the economic relationship between China and the US, the current state of affairs, and the prospects for future cooperation and competition. Episode 1. Historical background. The US and China have had a complex and sometimes tumultuous economic relationship. The economic ties between the two countries date back to the early days of the Cold War, when the US sought to build alliances with countries that were not aligned with the Soviet Union. In the 1970s, President Nixon's historic trip to China paved the way for normalized relations between the two countries, and China's economic reform and opening up policy in the late 1970s created new opportunities for US businesses to invest in China. Since then, the relationship between the US and China has evolved in several ways. While trade between the two countries has grown dramatically over the past few decades, there have been significant tensions over issues such as intellectual property theft, market access, and human rights. More recently, the US has expressed concerns about China's growing influence in the world, including through its Belt and Road Initiative and its military expansion in the South China Sea. Episode 2. Economic policies. The US and China have different economic systems and policies, which have significant implications for their economic performance and competitiveness. The US has a market-based system that emphasizes private enterprise and competition, while China has a more state-directed system that emphasizes government intervention and control. One key area of difference between the two countries is in their tax policies. The US has a relatively high corporate tax rate, which can make it more difficult for US businesses to compete globally. China, on the other hand, has a lower tax rate, which can make it more attractive for foreign businesses to invest in the country. Another key difference is in their regulatory policies. The US has a relatively open regulatory environment, which can make it easier for businesses to start and grow. China, on the other hand, has a more complex and bureaucratic regulatory system, which can create barriers to entry for foreign businesses. In terms of innovation and productivity, the US has historically been a leader in these areas, thanks in part to its robust research and development ecosystem and its emphasis on entrepreneurship. China, however, has made significant progress in recent years, and is now a major player in areas such as artificial intelligence and 5G technology. Episode 3. Trade relations. Trade has been a key driver of economic growth and development for both the US and China. However, there have been significant tensions in their trade relationship in recent years, with both countries imposing tariffs and other trade barriers on each other's goods. The US has expressed concerns about China's trade practices, including its alleged theft of intellectual property and its subsidies for state-owned enterprises. China, on the other hand, has accused the US of using tariffs as a weapon to try to force China to make concessions on trade. Despite these tensions, trade between the two countries remains significant. In 2019, China was the US's third-largest trading partner, with total trade between the two countries reaching over $560 billion. The U.S. is also a major destination for Chinese exports, with China exporting over $450 billion worth of goods to the U.S. in 2019. Episode 4. Technological Developments. Technological developments are shaping the future of both the U.S. and Chinese economies. Both countries are investing heavily in areas such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, and quantum computing, which are expected to have significant implications for economic growth and competitiveness. The U.S. has historically been a leader in technology innovation, with many of the world's leading technology companies based in the U.S. However, China has made significant progress in recent years, and is now a major player in areas such as 5G technology and artificial intelligence. One area of concern for the U.S. is China's development of 5G technology. While 5G is expected to have significant benefits for businesses and consumers, there are concerns that China's dominance in this area could give it an advantage in areas such as national security and economic competitiveness. The U.S. has taken steps to limit China's influence in this area, including through the recent decision to restrict U.S. companies from doing business with Huawei, one of China's leading 5G technology companies. Another area of concern for both countries is cybersecurity. Cyber attacks and data breaches can have significant economic and national security implications, and both the U.S. and China have been accused of engaging in cyber espionage and other activities to gain an advantage over each other. Episode 5. Regional and Global Implications. The economic relationship between the U.S. and China has significant implications for the rest of the world, particularly in the areas of trade and investment. Both countries are major players in global trade, and any disruptions to their trade relationship could have significant impacts on the global economy. China's Belt and Road Initiative, which seeks to expand China's infrastructure and economic influence around the world, has also raised concerns among some countries about China's growing geopolitical power. The U.S. has expressed concerns that China's expanding global influence could threaten U.S. economic and national security interests, and has taken steps to limit China's influence in areas such as telecommunications and technology. Finally, the U.S. and China's economic relationship has significant implications for other countries in the Asia-Pacific region, which are often caught in the middle of the two countries' economic and political tensions. Countries such as Japan, South Korea, and Australia have close economic ties with both the U.S. and China, and must navigate the complex geopolitical landscape to ensure their own economic and national security interests are protected. Conclusion. The economic relationship between the U.S. and China is complex and multifaceted, and has significant implications for both countries and the rest of the world. While trade and investment have been key drivers of economic growth and development, there have been significant tensions in recent years over issues such as intellectual property theft, market access, and human rights. As both countries continue to invest heavily in areas such as technology and infrastructure, the stakes for their economic relationship will only continue to grow, and the global implications of their economic interactions will become increasingly important. Thank you for listening to me.